Hello, my name is Kai, and I am a bit of a rambler. I like to travel, learn, and tell stories. And let's ramble on. It's raining today, and I thought it would be nice to do a podcast while it was raining. So I learned the name of the most famous sakura in Japan, the Some Yoshino, because there are so many different types, and both the lady on the train and now this ramen house owner explained to me the name Some Yoshino of the most famous cherry blossoms, the most famous sakura that are everywhere. They are starting to bloom, finally, where I am, right on cue as they were supposed to. And it's pretty great to see all of the sakura bursting forth. There's a huge rain, it's been raining like all day today, so I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like, but it should be pretty nice a couple days after because all the remaining ones will probably bloom in just a few more days. Very exciting. It's always great to be in Japan during the cherry blossom season. It's such a huge part of their culture, which is so tied to the cycle of seasons and cycles in general. So I love being here when all the sakura blooms, and then you'll see tons of people having picnics and meeting their friends and hanging out with the sakura while the sakura blossoms bloom and fall concurrently. It's pretty fascinating because it's such a short-lived phenomenon. Most of the trees bloom for maybe a few days, like 3 days. But already by the third day, the petals are starting to fall. So it's a very ephemeral celebration. And yeah, the Japanese take to it with gusto. It's really cool to see. So this will be I can't remember, but my third or fourth time in Japan doing this. And I made a friend here, Taka, who says he wants to go have a picnic under the cherry blossoms when it happens. So we'll probably bring some booze. That's another nice thing about Japan. You can drink in public because people are considerate in Japan. So we'll probably have a couple beers. He'll probably have whiskey. He likes his highballs. And yeah, we'll have a boozy picnic. Anyway, if you've ever been curious about the name of the most famous cherry blossoms, the sakura, it's Some Yoshino, apparently. I never knew that. I don't know if I've looked that up before, but this is certainly the first time it's stuck, Some Yoshino. And I talked, my Japanese is getting a little better. I'm one step up from nothing, because I was able to tell the owner of the ramen house who explained it to me that there were very nice Some Yoshino behind the train station. And that was pretty big for me, being able to express any thought I had after being here so long and constantly not being able to express myself. It wasn't perfect, and he asked me other questions, and I was like, sorry, I don't understand. But he also asked me a couple things I did, so it's certainly paying off studying Japanese so much, and I like studying languages anyway, so it's fun. But I finally feel like I'm making basic communication, having basic conversations, which is really nice. Eat this. It's good. So I went to some waterfalls, and there were new cherry blossoms there from the last time I went. And there are actually two waterfalls near each other. The second waterfall is only a 10-minute walk away from the first. And I hadn't seen that one yet, so I walked to the second one, and it was much bigger and grander, and the banks of the river were extremely muddy, and the water was cloudy and silty, and I was really surprised, but it just really thick clay, and it was really interesting to see because pottery is such a huge part of Japanese culture, and roof tiles and all that kind of stuff, and I could see when I went to the second waterfall, I was like, oh, of course it's a huge part of their culture. Look at this, perfect mud that they can just pick up and make anything with. It was very interesting to see, because with really good clay like that, you can make a house if you mix that with straw. It becomes a very strong wall. You could make bricks, you can make roof tiles, you can make, obviously, pottery, bowls and plates and whatnot. It was fascinating to see this clay because it was so obviously moldable and very fine, extremely fine clay. So it was really very cool. Like there wasn't a lot of dirt or sand mixed in. It was just extremely fine grained clay. Very smooth and very tough, it felt like you could make it into something. Very easy to work with, but it feels like it would hold together extremely well, especially after it was dried. I should have taken some, but I would have had to carry it back. Maybe I'll go do that. There's a rose garden in the park that is not quite alive yet, but I check on it every now and then. I would guess that the roses are going to bloom far after the cherry blossoms, though, by which point I will be in Korea and then China and then Mongolia. I walked through a cool park that had all of the zodiac animals. It's in statue form, and a lot of them had like there was the cow and then a baby cow with it, and there was just a bunch of cool statues, and it made it nice to walk through the park. Oh, and there were no bird droppings on any of the statues. And I didn't know if that was because it was winter and it had rained. So, or if, I don't know what that was, or if they actually have a guy just go through the entire park and clean all of the statues, because they were all sparkling, shiny. They looked new. Like all of the statues looked new. And I've been there a few times and there's never anything on them. But I imagine if they had to clean all of them, it would take a long time because they're not next to each other. They're all scattered throughout the park, and it's a pretty big park. So you'd have to walk 5 minutes to each one, and there's 12? There are 12 zodiac animals. So anyway, it was really cool to see those statues. Oh, walking around that park, I found a hair tie on the ground, and it looked perfectly new and clean, and I just picked it up, and I'm still using it because I only had 2 hair ties left, and one of them got stretched out. And then I was walking around these statues and saw a hair tie on the ground, and there you go. So now I have a hair tie. I did my taxes. I got those out of the way, which was very nice. It didn't take very long, and I feel like I should mention it again. If you live outside of the US for more than 330 days of the year, you have achieved the physical presence test of Form 2555 from the IRS. So US taxpayers, that means that you don't have to pay federal income tax, earned income tax, on your first $130,000 per year. They adjust the amount each year, the IRS, but right now it's about $130,000 US dollars. So you can work for any company, just be outside of the US for 330 days or more, and then you qualify for the FEIE, the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion, and you don't have to pay earned income taxes. I did it for a decade. It's great. Now, to retire, my income is now passive, so I do pay tax on unearned income, passive income, but earned income, if you're an English teacher abroad or a programmer or whatever job you have, as long as you're outside of the US more than 330 days of the year, you don't got to pay no taxes. And I recommend it. It was a very nice little perk to just fill out this form for 5 minutes every year and not pay taxes for a decade completely legally. That's the physical presence test. As long as you're not in the country for 330 or more days, you don't pay earned income taxes. So if your income is earned rather than unearned, like passive income, you're golden, pony boy. I found some orange trees, and I've been using the peels to put in my beers, but the beers and the seltzers in Japan are so tasty anyway, I don't really have to worry about adding in orange peels so much. Like when I visit the States and, I don't know, Budweiser, Bud Light, whatever, is it's just the cheap beer everywhere. I put in a little bit of lemon juice and some orange peels, and a Bud Light tastes pretty good. Get a lot of nice sour bitter in there with the beer, and it's okay. But here in Japan, I got some of these oranges and took off their peels and then realized that everything tastes so good here anyway, so I don't gotta. Oh, I made a Maguro song. Did I already talk about that? Ooh, it's been a while. What was it? It was something like Maguro suki desu, Maguro machi shushin desu. That was it. Maguro suki desu, Maguro machi shushin desu. Maguro, 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 maguro daisuki desu. Which means, I like tuna. I come from Tuna Town. I like tuna the most, basically. I thought that was so funny. I was singing it while I was showering the other day after I had some maguro, some tuna, sashimi. And I just started laughing singing that song. And I'm still singing it. It's a good song. I shared it with my Japanese friend back in the States and her husband. And she was like, hey, you're speaking Japanese. I was like, I know, I'm doing it. I've reached the apex of my life. I put up some curtains around the house because there's big old windows, and for some reason there's no curtains up in the house. Again, I don't think this host lives in this house normally because everything's put away and packed up. So I found some curtains in, I don't know, one of the closets, and there are a whole bunch of magnets everywhere here with hooks on them that must be popular in China or something because he has hundreds of them. And so I put up the magnets that with the hooks on them because the curtain rod couldn't hold the types of curtains I found. And then, but with those hooks, the curtains go up fine, and now I have a much more private house instead of the large Florida ceiling glass window doors that you can just see in from the street. So it's pretty happy with that. Put up some privacy curtains in the restroom too, so I can leave the window open so there's a fresh breeze going through there, but obviously privacy. So yeah, I was happy with the curtains I put up. Oh my gosh, have I mentioned heating yet? I didn't realize, oh boy, I didn't realize the heating worked in this house. I thought there was like some minimum heating, but some of the days I was like freezing. And I was like, I guess Japanese people just don't have heating, which then I was like, that's crazy. Of course they have heating. They really like their modern amenities. And then the AC on my wall, all of a sudden, after, 3 weeks of already living in this house, I was like, oh, wait, it's a aircon / heating duct? And I realized that I could turn on the heating at any moment that I wanted to. And it was freezing a couple more days, and now it's fine, the temperature, but so for like 2 weeks plus, I was just freezing in this house and not understanding how they could not have heating. And then I checked the listed amenities on the house, and it said heating, so I looked around and I realized, oh, the AC is also heating. Yeah, dum-dum. So I had a few nice warm days that combated the extreme cold. But then that totally changed, like last week. I don't know, the past 10 days or something, it's been getting steadily warmer. Like I said, all the Somei Yoshino, the sakura are starting to bloom. But I thought that was so funny that I didn't even realize there was heating, and I was just super cold for the first couple weeks I was here. Like a dum-dum. I found an old bike in the... So there's a lot of abandoned houses on this suburbs area of Matsuyama, and there's not a lot of people living out here. So after I had some sushi one day, I walked over to, I just walked through like all the towns just taking a walk, and then I saw this really old abandoned, I don't know, almost a barn, I guess, but it had a whole bunch of crap in it. And a lot of these houses have a whole bunch of crap in them, and nobody's living here. Like, I wonder, yeah, this must be a symptom of the massive population decline of Japan. I didn't realize how steadily their population was diminishing, but in the past 5 years, it's gone down like 5 million, which is, they're the 11th most populous country in the world with 123 million people in Japan, but that's still a lot. That's like almost 5% of the population, 1 in 20 people, is gone after 5 years. Every year, one more person out of 100 goes away. It's pretty wild to consider. So I'm guessing that's why a lot of these smaller suburbs and towns have fewer people these days. And by guessing, I mean mathematically, that obviously has to be true because there's less people. Anyway, I found this old abandoned barn with a whole bunch of stuff in it, and I went around poking around, and I saw a bicycle in there, which is really cool because I've been wanting to ride a bicycle around. It's such beautiful weather, and they have such nice roads in Japan, but I don't want to rent a bicycle because it's crazy expensive here. Like $100 per day to rent at all of the rental places I saw. The cheapest one was like $30 per day or something like that. But that's 150% of the cost of a new bike. I feel like I could buy a new, especially all of the Japanese people I see around me are riding like older, normal, crappy street bikes that cannot cost that much. But I can't find any place that sells those secondhand old bikes. And there's even a bike shop here, but the guy only sells new bikes, and he has a ton of secondhand ones, but he won't sell any of those. He just replaces the parts in the new bikes with those old parts, but everyone around me is riding the regular bikes. Anyway, I found one in this old barn, but it has that little hoop lock, so the back wheel was locked, and I realized that there was an old key in the front part of it that was unlocked, and the key was totally stuck. So I found an old hammer head, like the head of a hammer, and I put the key inside the hole of the head of the hammer, and then I used that to get a little more leverage because it was completely stuck and felt like it wouldn't turn at all. And that actually worked, and I got the key out. And then I was like, holy cow, so I unlocked the back hoop, and then now there's another bike. There are bikes all over outside of the city, like it seems people just abandon them all the time, so this is another abandoned one. Oh, but it is an electric bike, so it does have a heavy battery, and it's not great for pedaling. I just thought it was so cool that I used the head of a hammer to get more leverage to turn the key and get it out, and it worked, actually, instead of snapping off the key or something. That was pretty cool. What else has been going on? Oh, going to my friend's wedding in June. I did try to get out of it, to be perfectly honest. Just, I don't know, I think I'm kind of tired. I've been going to weddings and traveling frequently, and so I was just tired. And I'm going to meet other friends in Hawaii, so I don't want to have to go to the U.S. and then back west, go east from Asia to the U.S. for the wedding, then go back west to Hawaii to visit those Hawaii friends. But it turns out I'm part of the bridal party, is that what it's called? The groom's party? I'm one of the good men. Not the best man this time, but I'm a good man. And what the heck are those called? How come Oh, groomsman. Oh, that's funny. Good man. I'll use that. So he said if you don't show up, then we'll be imbalanced, and like you were planned to be part of the party, and I didn't realize that. The marriage party, is that what it's called? And so I was like, oh no, of course. I was just asking because the schedule. But if I'm part of the marriage party, yeah, I'll certainly be there. I don't want to mess anything up. It sounds like a huge party. It sounds like, or a huge wedding, like the largest wedding I have probably ever been to. There's going to be a lot of people there. So I thought, you don't even need me there, right? And then he was like, oh no, you're one of the groomsmen. You should be there. So I'll see you guys at the wedding. I RSVP'd, gave him a gift. I didn't get the ticket yet. I gotta get the ticket soon. I should probably get there earlier too, because all the flights seem to be going crazy. Probably partly because of Trump's war in Iran, and also the funding freeze for U.S. transportation, and I gotta get back there in a couple months, I guess. Yeah, about 2 months. Pretty crazy. This world is crazy. What else has been going on? I got char siu ramen. I've had the shio, the shoyu, and char siu. And the char siu was good. I liked it, but the shoyu, I think I just like the regular shoyu with the regular pork rather than the char siu pork ramen. Glad I tried it, though. I should probably try the curry next. I like this ramen house because it's close by. It's not the best ramen I've ever had in Japan or out, to be perfectly honest, but it's a cool place. It's all hardwood. He makes it by hand behind the counter, and it's just a familiar place. And it's an izakaya, so I can order a bunch of side plates like squid or hard-boiled egg or gyozo, like whatever side snacks I want to with it. Yeah, it's a cool little spot, so I like going there. It just feels cozy. Oh man, I had a great sashimi picnic. Tuna, salmon, sea bream. There was no ika. There was no squid. There was some other fish. It might have been hamachi, actually. And I got one of those beers I like with the lemon slice inside the beer, and I walked out. They have a bunch of causeways on Japan shores, and I walked out. I don't know, they're pretty far, like 30 meters down the causeway, and just hung out on a couple rocks, eating a picnic, watching the inland sea between Shikoku and Honshu, and the boats going by, and the beautiful sun, and the seagulls flapping around. And the sashimi was delicious, of course, because even though it's supermarket sashimi, it's still delicious if you get it in Japan. It's so tasty. And it was a really clear day, so there's a great picture you can see if you go to the Lemmy community, crazypeople.online/c/travel is the Lemmy community, and there's a great picture of the little picnic I had looking out over the inland sea on this beautiful, clear day. That was really fun and really delicious. I liked it. What else? Oh, Gmail spam filter. Good to talk about this. So people have been writing in, and look, if you're writing in recommending another person who you think should be a podcast guest, I'm probably not going to answer you. I get a crazy amount of emails, and I'm not that interested in talking to marketing people for other people, and usually those people are unrelated to my podcast. So if I'm not answering you and you're a marketing person, that's deliberate. But if I'm not answering you and you just happen to be a fan and want to write in, that's my bad. I didn't realize how strict my Gmail spam filter was. So huge shout out to the last couple people who got trapped by it. Ian from Ireland and Leanne from Canada, was she? It's been a couple weeks now. I can't exactly remember. But thank you, Leanne and Ian, for writing in. I answered both of them once I realized that my spam filter had detained real people and was letting all the marketing people through. So I've disabled my spam filters entirely. So now write in to bitofarambler@gmail.com. I will see your email. If you're a marketing person, I'm going to throw you down into spam or just trash it. But if you are a fan of the podcast, or if you just want to write in, bitofarambler@gmail.com, you will not get stuck by the spam filter anymore because I have disabled it entirely. I was really irritated when I found out that 2 people had written in and I hadn't responded. But luckily, I wrote back to both of them, and Ian, I think, has already written back. So I'm glad you guys... Thank you, Ian and Leanne, for writing in. Sorry you got caught by the spam filter. It will not happen again. Really glad I could throw some travel advice your way. And it's so cool that people are writing in. I don't get 10 people writing in every day, and I probably wouldn't, that's a lot of people writing in every day. But it's nice here and there to get a message and just know that there's some engagement going on with this podcast, that people are finding it useful in certain ways in their own lives. I don't expect every podcast topic to be relevant to every person, like a academy, they have to study everything. But when I do get emails from people saying, hey, I've been listening to the podcast, I really found this part interesting, or this episode made me think about traveling and is very inspiring, that's great. That's all this is doing. This is just supposed to be I don't want to say fount of inspiration. That sounds a bit vainglorious, doesn't it? But it's supposed to inspire and inform that traveling is much more accessible than people think. And if you want to do it, you probably can do it. If you want to travel, you probably can travel. Most people can. And most people's barrier, they think, is financial. But if you're speaking English, you got a guaranteed job, and it does not cost much to travel. As long as you book by the month and cook for yourself sometimes, it's very easy to travel for $500 to $1,000 per month. It's incredibly easy. So I'm so glad that message is getting through, because the people like Ian and Leanne I mentioned, and a few other people writing in and saying that they like the podcast and it's helping them understand travel a little better, and they have a couple questions. It's really cool. So thanks for writing in. If you want to write in, bitofarambler@gmail.com, I will answer. You won't get trapped in a spam filter anymore. And thanks for listening. I picked up sashimi from the store 5 minutes before the sticker guy came out to put discount stickers on everything. And I was like, oh, nothing's on sale today. But I guess he was just 10 minutes late putting all the discount stickers, because the sashimi in Japanese supermarkets, it's always fresh. It's made that day. And then after the afternoon rolls around, they put stickers on everything showing like how much each sashimi or sushi is being discounted in the afternoon, because it's not as fresh as it was in the morning. And I usually get there after they put the stickers on, but this day the guy didn't, and I picked up a roll and I was like, whatever, because it's not a huge discount. It's just nice. Like, yeah, why not pay $1 less or whatever? And I picked up a sashimi and walked away, and then I heard the door open right over my shoulder. He was putting the stickers on everything right after I had picked up the one. And so I went over and I was like, hey, can I get a sticker? From a different stock guy stocking the shelves. And he's like, no, sorry, that's that guy. You have to ask him. But then he was already back in the back again. He was a madman putting all those discount stickers on. And you know what? That is fine. I was perfectly happy paying the extra 60 cents or whatever the heck it was for tasty, delicious sushi. So I did find more orange trees. And besides the peels, I wanted to try the fruit, but it's super, super sour. So I guess it's just not ripe yet. But there are so many oranges and orange trees in Ehime in Shikoku, the southernmost main island. I'm finding random full orange trees all around, and nobody's taken the oranges. They're just falling off to the ground. So I assume they're ripe, but then everyone I've tried has been quite sour so far. Maybe it's just during the winter, like before spring, it's sour in general. I don't know what's happening with that. But it's really cool because there are giant orange trees full of oranges that you can just grab oranges from, and they're not on anyone's property or fenced off or anything like that. There's just so many in Shikoku that they're around. Oh, did you know Japan has 14,125 islands officially? So they've been counting, and every year, it goes up a little more because the island census is like, oh, there's another one. But that kind of blew my mind. 14,125 islands right now is the count for the number of Japanese islands. That's a lot of islands. That's pretty crazy. And I've been to two. I've been to two of those islands. I should probably get to work on visiting a couple other ones. I've already heard there's a rabbit island and a deer island along the northern Shikoku coast near Matsuyama. So I kind of want to go to those. Just going to two more and I'll have doubled my island count. And then I only have 14,121 left to go to. Oh wait, Shikoku's not even the last Kyushu. Kyushu's the southernmost. Yeah, I gotta get to some other islands. Even if the tiny Deer Island and Bunny Island, I should go check those out. Get my island count, bump that island count. Oh, so in other news, I got a new wireless mouse, which the old one has been not clicking correctly. Like I have to put a lot of pressure, I have to click it on the right part. And then it's been pretty bad this trip. And I was like, oh, you're in Japan. It's like the best place to go get one. And so I went for a long walk up to Daiso. And after getting there, there's a whole computer accessory section. And it was only, $3 for this mouse that I got for a USB-C rechargeable flat form factor mouse. And I was like, boom, perfect. So I tried it out and it works very well and I'm using it now. And yeah, I was very happy that my mouse finally decided to die while I was in Japan next to a bunch of Daiso. And there's one in Korea too. So if I need anything else I forget before I leave Japan, I'll be able to still stop by some Daisos for a week, because apparently there's a whole bunch in Korea, which I didn't realize. I love Daiso. It has everything. I should check them for stuff sacks. I was going to check when I got the computer mouse, but then they were closing soon, and so I was rushing and I forgot to check. But a couple stuff sacks would be great for my jacket, and mostly my jacket. Anyway, happy to have my new wireless mouse. What else been going on? It was fun walking around, walking to different Daisos, and I just walked up and down the coast of Shikoku, the northern coast near Matsuyama. And I just made a whole day of it just walking around. The sunsets are so nice on the inland sea. It's always like some bright orange, pink, or red, and the sky is blue, and all the leaves are green. My heart's as full as a baked potato. Man, have you seen Cannibal the Musical? If you like comedies or musicals, Cannibal the Musical is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I watch it fairly constantly. Like, I'm always watching, I don't know. It's one of the few movies I watch more than once these days. I mostly only watch a movie once, but Cannibal the Musical is so funny, and I found out about it when I was 19, I want to say. In college, my girlfriend's brother likes corny, funny movies, and I think she introduced me to it because he introduced her to Cannibal the Musical, and I still laugh like hard sometimes. I've showed it to a bunch of my friends. What a great movie. But yeah, my walk, that song I was singing was from Cannibal the Musical. My walk along the coast was very nice. I got my wireless mouse. It was a very satisfying day. Also, dark skies in Japan, I just want to mention real quick. I think it's so cool how attentive, or how much attention is paid to dark skies in Japan, to not having too many streetlights and not having too bright lights anywhere so you don't get light pollution. So you can see so many stars, even if you're inside a populated area. You can find like dark sky pockets of a city, and you can also, if you're outside of the city, it's all dark. There's very little intrusive light pollution in a lot of parts of Japan, which I love because I love just staring at stars. They're amazing looking and fill me with a sense of humility. So I've been going out stargazing a lot since, I'm in Japan. It's such a great country for that. It's so crazy. I didn't realize it was the 11th most populous country in the world. I just found that out when I was reading its Wikipedia page about all the islands. 123 million is the 11th most populous country in the world. And for being in the top, 5% of countries by population, the care they pay to not overdeveloping cities and not overdeveloping their islands, I guess they have 14,000 of them, is even more impressive than it already was, and it was already very impressive. But now that I know they're the 11th most populous country, it's even crazier that there's so many private rights that are taken for granted here that countries like the US don't have. Like, there's not as many security cameras, even though, cameras are big, there just are not as many security cameras here as there are in countries like the US or most of Europe, in most places now, China for sure. But human rights are so important in Japan that you don't have as many security cameras just everywhere because privacy is just a huge thing in Japan. Privacy is huge here. Anyway, I'm loving living in Japan. It's been really fun. I'm gonna enjoy it for another week and a half and then go bounce off to another country. Korea. And then China. Go visit some friends in China. It's been a long time. And my friend asked me, why don't you just stop here and visit? And I was like, oh yeah, why don't I? There's no good reason not to. And so, yeah, that'll be really fun. And then up to Mongolia, probably. I'm kind of tired from traveling so much, so I kind of want to slow down, but I don't know. It doesn't seem in the cards. Seems like I just got to keep learning. If you want to listen to more of this, go listen to the other 100 episodes. These are what all the Ramble On ones sound like. Thank you very much for listening, everybody who is. Thank you for writing in, everybody who is. And I hope your day is going great. You can talk to me at bitofarambler@gmail.com or the Lemmy community or Blue Sky, Bit of a Rambler on Blue Sky and Bit of a Rambler on Lemmy. And I hope you're having just a super day.